At number 10, we got the XPR50, the SVD, and the SKS. These three are at the bottom of the list, not because they are worse, but because they are being used in a completely different way. Starting off with the XPR50, the fastest sniper in the list. With the stopping power mag, the XPR50 can one-shot in the chest in their first range up to 40 meters and infinitely as you hit the target on the head. With the correct build and well-placed shots, the XPR50 can definitely dominate ranked lobbies. It's even banned on comp, by the way. You can use this build for the XPR50. Meanwhile, the SVD is the complete opposite of the XPR50. It's a more consistent sniper rifle with a bigger mag size, and it can one-shot on the chest and arms up to 40 meters and infinitely as long as you can hit the target on the head. You also have to consider that it is slower than the XPR50, but it is definitely the better option if you like to hold angles and play a bit more passive. Here's the build you can use for the SVD. If you like to play more aggressively, hold angles, and roam around the map at the same time, you can also try the SKS. SKS has always been a dominant 2-tap weapon. It can do so on the upper body and one-shot to the head at all ranges. You can try this build out for the SKS. Up next, the most dominant CQC weapon in this list, the MAC-10 SMG has the fastest fire rate in the entire game. The right map and location where you choose your gunfights is crucial with this weapon. And as the damage may fall off compared to the other guns in the meta, its fire rate can completely compensate for the low damage and win your gunfights mostly in close quarters combat. Here are the builds that you can use for the MAC-10. The M13 always had its place in the meta with its low recoil, good BSA, fast fire rate, decent time to kill at ranges, clean iron sights, and overall good mobility. You also have to consider its somewhat slow bullet velocity, which can affect its time to kill, but overall it is a pretty solid and easy to use weapon depending on what build you prefer, so try out these builds for the M13. The Peacekeeper used to be the #1 weapon in the game, but even after the nerf it received, it's still arguably a good weapon of choice for everyone with its good mobility and ADS speed, decent time to kill, good range, and pretty much no recoil and no flinch. Here's the forever recommended build for the Peacekeeper. Thanks to the recent damage and mobility buff on the chopper, its time to kill definitely got boosted along with its very fast fire rate. Not to mention it has a huge mag size, good BSA, fast mobility with the heavy handle, good wall penetration, and disable perk applies anywhere on the body. Try these builds for the chopper LMG. Pretty close to Krig in terms of stats, really good BSA, large mag size, average mobility, decent time to kill along with a consistent 4-shot weapon because of the good body multiplier it has. It's also mostly used in the comp scene on global because of its consistency. You can use these builds for the Kilo 141. At the 4th spot, we got the MX9 and the Switchblade X9. The MX9 and Switchblade X9 are like twin brothers because they almost have the same stats, except that the MX9 has a really weird recoil pattern, which makes it pretty hard to use. Meanwhile, the Switchblade X9 has a really bad BSA since the last nerf it received, which makes it bad after 20 meters. But overall, they both have good mobility, not much flinch for an SMG, and really good time to kill in close range fights. Picking your gunfights and with the correct builds, these two can be very reliable weapons of choice for CQC. Here are the recommended builds for both the MX9 and the Switchblade X9. The PP19 Bizon got adjusted in the recent patch, buffing its damage and mobility while nerfing its damage range at the same time. Because of the recent damage buff, it can now completely 3-tap a target inside the first range. Given its huge mag size, consistent damage multiplier and time to kill throughout ranges, non-existent recoil, good overall mobility, virtually no cons, but it isn't better than the other guns in other areas. But it still deserves the top 3 spot here in the list. You can try out these builds for the Bizon. Moving over, the CBR4 received a strafe speed buff at first and a damage multiplier and recoil buff next. Considering its good mobility, large mag capacity, not much recoil, and good BSA with the correct build along with the recent buffs, the CBR4 definitely has made a comeback in the meta. But you also have to take note that the damage consistency isn't the best like before, but it is indeed better than the Bizon for CQC, but due to worse damage and time to kill consistency, you might prefer the Bizon. Here's the recommended build for the CBR4. 4. Down to our number 2 spot is the Holger. It has always been a good weapon choice for anchoring, may it be in ranked or scrims, but it always got outshined by other weapons in the previous meta. Thanks to the huge damage range and BSA buff, the Holger definitely bounced back. With its huge mag capacity, fast strafing speed, low recoil, good wall penetration, and really fast time to kill thanks to its high fire rate, and its damage and range profile makes it no doubt a top 2 weapon. Although take note that a lot of flinch might put you at a disadvantage in your gunfights, so make sure to run toughness perk with their class. You can use these builds for the Holger 26. As good as the Holger is, we got Krig 6 at the number 1 spot. Krig 6 has an insane 4-shot range, 3-shot potential as long as you hit the head, not much recoil and flinch, large mag size, and decent BSA. Although the downsides are the somewhat slow bullet velocity, bad iron sights, not a problem if you have the mythic blueprint, and even with the red dot, it's still pretty hard to aim because of the aim shake, but if you'll put those aside, the Krig 6 is still the most dominant weapon because of the fast TDK, thanks to its very good damage consistency. Here are the builds you can use for the Krig 6. What's your top 3 guns this season? Let me know down in the comments below. For your guns to be effective, you have to have decent aim. I just happen to have some weird ways to get better aim. Give him a try and watch this video right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.